Association with our partners.
We are in Krugersdorp with Cindy and Loiso, who's about to find out that with the F&B app, there's no excuses.
Honey, let's go. We need to book flights for our getaway.
Skawara, love. We can book and pay for flights and car hire securely on the F&B app. Plus, we get bonus slow lounge visits to relax before our flights.
No. I forgot my card. We can't pay for this.
Skawara. I can scan to pay using F&B Pay on the F&B app.
Does the F&B app help you get life insurance?
Yeah, that and more in the palm of my hand.
Skawara. Take a leap with help. Switch to F&B, where one simple change makes a big difference.
Welcome to the I Am an Entrepreneur Summit, proudly brought to you by our sponsors F&B in association with Renault and ShopRite. My name is Kangabo Ntweng, and here at I'm an Entrepreneur, we're all about helping entrepreneurs build and grow their businesses. And what a better way to do that than with today's topic, which is find the right funding. Now, as the old adage goes, it takes money to make money. While this may be true, whether you are considering to take a loan or you're considering to partner with an investor or you've got savings to tap into, it is very important to weigh your options when it comes to funding and looking at the benefits and the downsides of the funding options that are there for you. And that's why for today, the third edition of the I'm an Entrepreneur Summit, we have gathered financiers, investors, and entrepreneurs who are going to take you through the various funding options that exist and what are the pros and cons of each of them. So gather around and find out what is the right fit for you and your business. If you are joining us via Facebook or YouTube, you can engage with us via the comment section. We absolutely love to hear from you. And if you are watching via our data-free stream, then you can get in touch via WhatsApp on 078-350-0768. We're also on the socials. If you are on Twitter, we are at IAAESA, and the hashtag, the only hashtag that matters today, is IAAE Summit. First up, we feature the CEO of Green Scooter, a ride-hailing service that was founded by a Soweto-born entrepreneur who never took no for an answer. What? A hustler. Right now, he is carving a new niche in the transport industry and is about to change the game. Meet the CEO of Green Scooter, Fezile Dlamini.
Hi, my name is Fezile Dlamini. I'm the founder of Green Scooter, which is an automotive company. We design, assemble, and build electric vehicles, which are three-wheelers, the ZBRS and the ZB Cargo. And we're also working towards creating a more technology-centric company. My entrepreneurship journey, I never thought I was ever going to be an entrepreneur. I thought at some point in my life I'll probably be a world-renowned CMO at a Fortune 500 company because I was passionate about marketing. I firmly believe that entrepreneurship is not something that you can just, wake up and decide. Well, you can do that, but again, it needs to have its own calling. It's something that when you do it with purpose, you do it with meaning. Yes, we all want financial freedom, economic emancipation, but for me to do this was to challenge myself, was to build the future. And I tell some people that if it wasn't for the Jetsons, the 1960s cartoon, I wouldn't think about the future so much or build towards it as much as I am. So, I've been a hustler before, but now I'm a businessman. And I've been doing this for about 10 years now. And it's a roller coaster. It's not a fun one. If anyone asked me for advice about, do you advise people to become entrepreneurs, I'd say no. Because it's not for the faint-hearted. It's a road less traveled for a reason. There's those that win, there's those that lose. And you really have to be built for it in order to survive and thrive in it. Green Scooter has been around for about 6 years now, and I funded it myself. I went and I knocked on every single door. Most of the reception I'd get back in 2017, 18, when I eventually started to go and chase money, wasn't positive about electric mobility. wasn't positive about the future that we're trying to build. And here we are, 6 years later. I've invested my own money, millions of rands, just to get to this point, to where we are now. And I mean, even with that, it was never an easy journey. I had to make a conscious decision back in 2018. 2018, March, I'm broke, contract phone, nothing was, like I couldn't make phone calls, but luckily I could receive phone calls. I had to think about something new, in terms of making money. And we fortunately came together with a then friend of mine, and we started an agency, a marketing agency. We built software and we built hardware, and we ran traditional marketing campaigns for a big company. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here today. So all the money that I made in terms of funding and financing my company was literally from that. You have to make a conscious decision as a South African or even an African that you want to get into business, you're not going to get funding like this. So you have to think about something new, something different, an approach to funding and financing yourself. And I did just that, creating Green Scooter and building what I'm trying to create with my team is to change the world, is to elevate, Africa, above everything else. It's a unique challenge that you just bring to yourself. It's just, like I said, it's a calling. Like, business is literally a calling. And when you're so far deep as I am, 6 years in, haven't even made a profit, haven't even made a damn salary from this thing, you've jumped off the cliff and you're just like building a plane on your way down. Whether it eventually works out before you hit the ground or whether you glide, is a bona phambili. How I got into the automotive space, electric mobility, driving around Richards Bay and Birdswood, and when I'm driving around in Richards Bay, I notice a mamzo, Mamzo, she's walking and she just got dropped off by a taxi. So I know the rural side of Birdswood, of how far it is. So it's like a 5-kilometer walk or up to 10 Ks. I was like, this is a problem, especially in Richards Bay. You're like, if you're trying to take a maxi taxi, they're gonna charge you like 150 to 200 rand for like a 10-kilometer trip. And it never made sense. So Uber was around at the time. My thing was, it's expensive. We live in Africa, Africa's hot. So I thought to myself, we need a first mile, last mile solution, but it can't be another car. You can't launch another ride-hailing platform that's gonna have a car. It's gonna be like a Red Sea versus Blue Sea. Red Sea is bloody, everyone is in it. Blue Sea is a road less traveled, so I opted for electric mobility. The product itself, it just made sense because you need to focus on mini mobility, as the last mile service. You can't be driving a huge internal combustion engine. 94% of your fuel is moving the vehicle, 4% is moving you. I needed to even elevate my own consciousness in terms of how I want to transform logistics, transportation, or transportation as a service, business model innovation, using technology. And that's how I got into it. I don't follow, I lead, and I've always preferred being the lone wolf. What entrepreneurs get wrong, which I could say I also learned from early set, is just to, number one, you need to know who you're talking to. You can't approach everyone with a blanket approach. If you're gonna go chase money from private VC or DFI, you need to understand what their mandates are. You need to understand, will they have the appetite for what you're trying to do? You need to have a fundraising strategy. You need to know that, okay, cool, we're raising X amount and we're trying to get here. We all want to get a big ticket, right? Like whether it's 10 million, 50 million, 100 million. We're all trying to chase that. And as startups, it's not that simple for us. As a small business, it's not that easy as well. Each and every institution operates in a different way. And you need to know that. It's like you need to beat the system at its own game. But again, if you don't really know how to speak the language of the financiers, make sure that there's someone in your team that can speak that language for you. But above everything else, you must know how to communicate your own numbers. How we've geared ourselves up for capital raising, I mean, we've partnered up and started working and engaging with different people. people that understand how the game works. I mean, I understand how certain things work, but you also need a certain level of professionals who understand how your cap table needs to look like, how your financial model needs to look like, who can speak. Like I said, you need to have somebody that can speak that language. You know, I'm very transparent with my team in terms of, guys, this is what's happening now. In this, these are the countries we're talking to. These are the companies we're talking to. Those are the types of things that are there. But again, I mean, you know, everything about the business is also like in my head, you know. So, you know, it's making sure that the team also understands the literature, understands the direction, making sure your pitch deck and your data rooms are always like updated. The top 3 things that, you know, you need to understand in terms of raising capital. 1, relationships matter. If you're not gonna have relationships, it's gonna be difficult to get money. Raising money takes a lot of effort. 2, your numbers must make sense. Don't lie. Tell the truth. Show the forecast. 3, make sure you're reaching the right metrics. You're showing your metrics. Fund managers want to see your metrics. They want to see your previous financials, annual financial statements from previous years. Make sure all of that you have it together. Because once you have it together, it becomes easy to converse with funders. That's basically it.
Green Scooter and Fezile Dlamini are an inspiring story of dedication, of perseverance, and goodness, what a passionate entrepreneur who is somebody who really persevered to get to where he is at the moment and where he is going. May he continue to flourish. Nice one, Fezile. We're about to take a break, but when we come back, the business doctor is in the building. Kitumezi Lekaba, you don't want to miss her.
We are in Bulukwane, where Karabo and Temba are discussing low-cost ways to run your business. Zanzi, Mamela.
The way we do business has changed, eh? And so must we.
Oh, yeah.
Did you change your business bank?
Hey, sisters, I finally switched to FNB's first business Zero.
And?
I now get more than the Zero monthly account fee. I get unlimited Mahala card swipes, free business coaching with Fundaba, with FNB app, NgesiZulu, and in 4 other languages. And a free FNB Connect SIM that is already loaded with more data, SMS, and business call time. More, kanjani.
Oh, low, mhlobo wami, with FNB's first business Zero.
Oh, yes.
Get more low for your business. Switch to FNB, where one simple change makes a big difference. Well, that's it.
So this is the car.
Turn left.
I don't need that.
Dad, turn left. So?
Let's go shopping. Come on.
The best way to enjoy a mushroom is just to eat a mushroom. I've been growing mushrooms on this farm for 21 years now. We started supplying checkers. We were very excited about it. We are still very excited because it allowed us to have access to more than 364 stores. And that allows us to deliver a lot more volume. It enabled us to grow to where we are today. We currently supply more than 16,000 first-grade pallets of mushrooms. When we are operating fully, we have a staff complement of about 175, which is permanent jobs. And 52% would be women. Some of them have been here for more than 20 years. A lot of people eat with their eyes, so they have to look nice, even though it doesn't correspond to the taste. They always taste nice. But our mushrooms look better because we control better.
Welcome back to the I'm an Entrepreneur Summit. Coming up next, we've got our business doctor, Kitumezi Lekaba. She is always ready to help you make sure your business stays out of the ICU. Let's step in for a consultation and, of course, explore the theme for today, finding the right funding.
Hello, entrepreneurs. Welcome to another segment with myself, the business doctor, Kitumezi Lekaba. Finding the right funding. What a difficult thing to do for entrepreneurs. So today, I'm going to share with you guys tips on how to find the right funding based on the type of funding need that your company has. So we're going to look at 3 elements on finding the right funding for your business. Number 1, before anything else, you have to know your own company's funding need. What funds are you applying for? Are you looking for seed capital? Are you looking for startup capital for your business? Are you looking for asset purchase funding? Are you looking for working capital funding? Are you looking for growth funding? Or are you looking for debt restructuring for your business? Once you know this type of funding, it is going to assist you in approaching the correct source and also the type of funding that you need to apply for. Are you going for a grant? Are you looking for equity funding? Are you looking for debt funding? Or a combination of the above? And in looking for loan funding, are you applying for loan? How many years of a loan? Are you applying for a credit card? Are you applying for an overdraft facility? What type of funding does your business need? When applying for equity, what terms of the equity are you willing to put forward to that specific funder? With the combination, what type of combination do you think your company needs to be able to get the best funding for the company? Once you know the type of funding that you are going for, what you're going to use the money for, then you are able to go to the right source to find your funding. Let's go through them. You can either go to DFIs, Development Funding Institutes. These are typically government funding institutes, CFA, NEF, and IDC. All of these have different criteria of funding and different amounts that they fund and different industries that they fund. So before you even apply for this funding, know what you're applying for, know the specific funding you're looking for, and make sure that your company qualifies for that specific funding with that specific DFI. 2, your venture capitalist companies. If you're looking for equity, make sure that the venture capitalist terms that your company is looking for speaks to the terms that the company can actually fund. 3, commercial funders, banks, and the likes. If you're going for a commercial funder, make sure that you have the correct compliance documents that are required by each commercial funder, and make sure that before applying, the commercial funder actually funds that specific need that you are looking for. If you're not compliant, don't even start approaching a commercial funder. Lastly, another option for SMMEs to go to is ESD companies, or companies that specialize in enterprise and supply development initiatives. Often, big corporates through ESD initiatives have funds that they fund specific companies that align with their specific supply chain. So do the research and do the homework to find out which companies and which corporates are involved in ESD initiatives that can benefit your specific company in terms of funding. With all the sources of funding that are out there, there are specific main documents and specific compliance documents that are non-negotiable for each. So before you even approach any funder for funding, you have to make sure your company is registered with CRPC and compliant. Your company is compliant with the receiver, SARS, non-negotiable. You have to make sure that you have financial history. You can't just submit bank statements. Your bank statements and your financial records have to be summarized into some form of financial record. If you don't have financial record or you're a new company, you have to prove your market. The funder wants to know what is the potential of growth in your company and what is the market potential that your company has to grow. And that also speaks to the next thing that is required, your forecasts. You can't apply for funding without forecasts, especially if you're going for debt or equity funding, because the funder wants to know in the next 3 years, in the next 5 years that I'm giving you this funding, how are you going to make the money, and what homework have you done as the entrepreneur to make sure that there's market for your business? What is making the forecast a reality? It can't be a thumbsuck. Forecast, reality of the forecast, market potential, non-negotiable. And lastly, the jockeys in the business. Who are the jockeys in the company? Funders fund and back the jockey up. The people that are running the company. You have to have the right passion, there has to be the right skills, and you have to have the right expertise to make sure that the company is a sustainable company and the company becomes a success. So the jockeys, always put the jockeys forward and always put the right jockeys forward so that the funder can back the jockeys. With that said, good luck in finding the right funding for your business. And remember, research, research, research. Do the work.
The business doctor always ready with the right remedies. Thank you very much, Kitumeti, for all those insights. Now, do you have certain learnings that you found really important from everything that Kitumeti mentioned? Engage with us. If you are watching via Facebook or YouTube, then you can comment in the comment section. And if you're watching via our data-free stream or anywhere else, then you can drop us a WhatsApp message, and that is on 078-350-0768. Up next, very important to keep up with what is happening in the entrepreneurship world here at home and around the globe. Here's some news.
Let's go for a quick trip around the world for news and trends you need to look out for this month. FNB has partnered with the South African government on its Bounce Back Loan Scheme. The scheme is aimed at providing additional funding to qualifying businesses in order to grow the South African economy and to facilitate job creation. FNB said it will prioritize the provision of bounce-back loans as the default term lending solution for business clients with an annual turnover of between 0 and 100 million rand, with loan options ranging from a minimum of 10,000 rand to a maximum of 10 million rand. The loans come with a low variable interest rate of prime plus 3%, and successful applicants have 60 months to repay the capital with no penalty for early settlement. To find out more about the loan and if your business qualifies, visit your nearest FNB branch or visit fnb.co.za. Globally renowned Veuve Clicquot Bold Woman Award is open for entries for the first time in its 50-year history to South African entrants. The award takes inspiration from Madame Clicquot, a woman widowed at the age of 27 years old in 1805, who went on to revolutionize the champagne industry at a time when women couldn't open their own bank account, let alone independently own or run a business. Madame Clicquot was first to create an identity for champagne outside of France, bottled the first recorded vintage champagne in 1810, and made the first known blended rosé champagne amongst other scientific developments in improving the making of champagne. The Bold Woman Award is the longest-running international award of its kind, honoring the impact of female leadership, innovation, and entrepreneurship. South African businesswomen will now join the ranks of an illustrious list of 410 winners celebrated by this remarkable award. Entries are now open and close on May 31st. For more information and to enter the Veuve Clicquot Bold Woman Award, complete a simple form via their website. Video conferencing platform Zoom introduced a 40-minute time limit on free one-on-one calls as of Monday, the 2nd of May. Previously, there was no limit on one-on-one calls for those with free Zoom accounts, whilst group calls for those with the free accounts were limited to 40 minutes. This change could have a major impact on productivity for small startup businesses using the free version of Zoom. Be sure to check out other options for conferencing such as Microsoft Teams and Google Meet, which allow up to 100 people to conference for 60 minutes.
Every single entrepreneur, whether your business is big or small, it is so important to know what is happening in business around the world and even in your home country. Stay in the know. I hope you learned a lot from that. Opportunities that are there to grasp, pitfalls to avoid, and everything else that you might learn. That was your entrepreneurship news. Coming up next, we're going to have Jeremy Maggs for Viewpoint. He has got an excellent guest. You do not want to miss it.
We're with Keegan, who's spreading his changeable knowledge about FNB's Business Hub.
Ever thought of branching out across the country?
I'd like to, but I don't really know how.
With FNB's Business Hub, Mahala on the FNB app, there are tools on how to grow your business. You can learn business skills with Fundaba that has excellent practical information on most business topics. Or tune into Business Talk for industry news via podcasts, articles, and videos. There's also the Business Toolkit on how to navigate a crisis. You can learn whenever, even while on the move.
How? All this from a bank. How?
On the FNB app.
How?
How, Wayne? Switch your business to a bank that helps you level up your business skills. Switch to FNB, where one simple change makes a big difference.
The This is where the story begins. It's my daughter's 11th birthday party. She wanted to have a bunch of friends over. So there was lots of pizza. It was epic. Got onto my phone and I Googled corn dogs near me. Nothing showed up. How do I not have corn dogs in Joburg? So I thought, okay, well then it's fine. I'll just make my own. Corn dogs were the #1 favorite of the day. I told my husband, he was like, you could be onto something. So the rest is history. He was like, let's do something about it. I started calling every hour for several days. I was very persistent. We got our meeting set up with the buyer, with a promise, and had a billion questions, which he answered them all. The day that our awesome distributors came to pick up these packets, I couldn't believe they were leaving, and it felt like my children were leaving my house. So they entered stores, and I tell you, for the first week, myself, my husband, my staff, everybody in my family, we were finding every checkers that we could and making sure the temperatures were the correct temperature, checking sure the boxes were stacked okay, watching people buy our product. It was incredibly well received. And today we've got about 38 staff, and we can see what the employment we've given them is doing in the lives of the community. This additional income is helping us expand our business to places we didn't think or know it could get to. So we have an original chicken flavor, a chicken cheese, and a chili cheese, or jalapeno cheese. So we want to cater for everybody, and we do. No one ever has one, ever.
Welcome back to the I'm an Entrepreneur Summit, sponsored by F&B in association with ShopRite and Renault. Now, our partners at ShopRite have a brand new feature, and it's called On the Shelf. And the name is exactly what it says it is. They're all about helping you get your products on their shelf. Here we go. Enjoy.
Hi, I'm Maud Modise from the ShopRite Group, and this is On the Shelf, where we talk about what it takes to get your product retail ready. Today we're speaking to Thabo from Toys with Roots. We're going to be talking a lot about how they went into product selection and how they knew that these are the products that they wanted to put on the shelf with ShopRite. Thabo, after almost 20 years in the TV industry, you and your wife decided that we're gonna go with Toys with Roots. How did you guys go about it, and how did you choose the specific product that you guys went into choosing?
So for us, it started in 2015. At the time, my daughters were 7 and 3, and we actually bumped into somebody who was selling, dolls in the boot of the car. And my wife had suggested we should buy 2 for our daughters, one for each of them. And so we did. And then she thought, I might have friends, thinking to herself, I might have friends who want this product. So we then decided to speak to the owner of the brand and bought 200, went on social media and we sold those. And then we bought 1,000, and then we thought, okay, well, there's something here. So initially when we started, it wasn't really a business, it was just a product that we liked, that we thought we could get out there. But once we saw the reception and how the public were receiving it, we then decided to say, okay, this particular toy space is something we want to go into. And looking at the time, in 2015, there were a lot of other people who were creating dolls. You had the Wompim Poppies and different other brands that were coming out. And so we decided to create a house, Toys with Roots, that was going to compete with the other retailers for toys, to say we are the center for toys that celebrate African children. And that's really how we started with the product and with the toys.
What type of dolls are they? Maybe if we can give our viewers some context around that.
So when we started, we predominantly, specialized in fashion dolls, what they call fashion dolls. These are what typically somebody would say Barbie looking type of, dolls. We supplied that to the market, but what we realized is, as we did a bit of research and looking into the toy space, that baby dolls are the best-selling range within the space. And when we started partnering with ShopRite, which we'll speak about, that's how we decided on in terms of the type of products that we were going to supply and the type of range and dolls we're going to design for ShopRite.
You're competing with legacy brands where I walk into a store and I grew up on certain toys. And I just want to speak about product differentiation in the sense that, what did you guys do different to make a customer look at your product differently?
So when we looked at the market, an assessment, and obviously we're part of the greater general public, we had seen that there's obviously were some brown dolls available on on the shelves, but a lot of them, you know, public weren't necessarily happy with them, you know. And for me, when I assessed it and looked at what the outcome or why is the reason for that is, you know, I think it's some sort of unconscious bias that we might necessarily have. And what we had a lot of the times is that the dolls that were on shelves, that were at least brown dolls, were something that were imported from a shelf from China. And what happens is, if they look at us in the same way, in the same vein that we all look the same, they can't, you know, appreciate our unique looks, our beauty, our individuation. And so when we came into the space, we wanted to design specifically toys that are centered and designed around African children, you know, accentuating our beauty and our differentness and our individuation, you know. And so when we started designing the Rainbow Kids dolls for ShopRite and creating other products around the toy space, our key thing was to say beautiful brown toys or beautiful brown dolls for beautiful brown children. And so because we did that, I think that's how we were able to attract a big part of the public buying into our range. But just to add another point to that, so when we walked into the ShopRite and we started to speak into the buyer, in this specific instance, you know, doing a fact-finding mission, and I think that's important for suppliers to do, to say, okay, let me do a fact-finding mission in terms of what does my customer, who's the buyer, want. Category buyers understand the category better than many people, you know, because they've worked in this particular space for a long time. And so we did that, and so there was a lot of things that ShopRite helped us to understand in terms of pricing correctly, you know, positioning correctly. And it's not just about having a nice toy and think it's going to move. They look at other things and other aspects. And so it was great working with a buyer like the one we had, who worked with us on this journey.
You spoke around product extension. So when did you guys decide, let's move on to another product and keep on expanding?
Our key focus is, you know, toys that celebrate African children. And we believe that children should see themselves and their greatness in everything, you know, in the toys they play with, the books they read, the media they consume. And so for us, it was a natural progression of how it went. But in relation to the Rainbow Kids with ShopRite, the conversation with the buyer that we had was to say, they always had a long-term plan to say, we want to incorporate Toys with Roots within the ShopRite family, and we want to grow with the business. So when we started in 2019, we started with 3 dolls, you know, Pula and Nandikana. And that was, you know, how 2019 started. We're in stores in 2019, August. You know, we did pretty well. 2020 was a bit quiet. So, I mean, in 2020, actually January, we had a meeting again to say, okay, the expansion for 2020. COVID happened, that was canned. In 2021, we had a meeting with the buyer again to say, okay, how do we expand for 2022? And in 2022, then we're able to introduce the puzzles, which are 48 piece and 100 piece. We introduced the ball, and then we also introduced doll and stroller as well. So we've seen, you know, the willingness of ShopRite, at least in that category of the buyer, to want to grow with the business and to want to expand it. You know, there's been some successes. And there's been some, you know, some learnings that we've had, and so we continue on this journey with them.
So obviously what I hear you say, or in summary what you're saying, is in order for you to expand a bit better, it's really critical to speak to the business and obviously find out what their needs are, where they think you should be going, if you're on the right track, and work together. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think it's important, but I think it starts with your personal vision, right? So we had a personal vision, we know where we want to go. And so we try then to find out how do we align our vision with the vision of the retailer. So, I mean, ShopRite really, their focus is to retail products, right? So we then need to align, you know, the mass retailer element with it, with the toy design and creative element with it. And then we find a perfect mix between us. So we are able to create something that suits their price point and their customer's price point, which they understand very well. We understand the customer needs in terms of product, you know, design and need and packaging, which we understand very well. And then the partnership works out perfectly. So I would say if you're a small supplier, understand your business, but it's not enough. You need to understand your customer's business as well and be able to think from their point of view.
And that's where obviously the retailer comes in with all the data and information that they have in order to partner with your vision, and then you obviously make it a success.
Exactly. I mean, you know, when you start with, you don't know what you don't know. And so, and I speak, you know, from a point of privilege. We had had a great buyer who was willing to let us into their thinking, you know, to say, this is how things work around here, this is where we need you to be. And they were able to then, you know, assist us to get there because they wanted to work with us, they wanted the partnership, and it's worked well so far.
Thank you so much, Thabo, for your insight. I hope your toys with roots grow from strength to strength.
Thank you. And I mean, I think it's very important what you're doing. I think entrepreneurs do need to be ushered in, you know, into the retail space, because it's a new space, especially for creatives and designers who are coming with products. And so I think what you're doing is very important.
That was such an insightful insert from ShopRite on the shelf. Now, when you have a product that you want to sell, it sometimes sounds like a far-fetched dream to finally have your products on the shelf at a place like ShopRite. They have made it such a reachable thing to attain for any entrepreneur in Mzansi and everywhere else. That was on the shelf. Coming up next, we have got Viewpoint with Jeremy Maggs. Always a gem. Listen up.
A very warm welcome to Viewpoint, where we try to unpack the secrets of successful people and share them with you, our entrepreneurs, so you can take their learnings and implement them to build a successful business. I'm your host, Jeremy Maggs, and today we're going to discuss finding the right funding. Now, let me say this, not all partners are good partners, and not all money that comes your way is good necessarily for building your business the way that you envisioned right in the very beginning, with the ownership and control you want and the direction that you believed in. I want to share some valuable insight with you today. Our guest is a trailblazing entrepreneur who's broken all kinds of barriers as a young black female farmer. I want to welcome Mbali Nwoko, who's the chief executive farmer of Green Terrace. What is Green Terrace? Well, it's a female-owned agribusiness growing high-value vegetable crops for leading retailers, food processors, and fresh produce markets right across the country. Mbali, a very warm welcome to Viewpoint. Let me start with this if I can. This would be my understanding or my experience, that farmers come from farming backgrounds, that it's something that runs in the family. I'm sensing your story is somewhat different. So how did you get into the business and what drives this passion?
Thank you so much, Jeremy. And you are right. I'm a first-generation farmer. I didn't think that I'll become a farmer. I had a business within the recruitment industry and moved into farming. And I'd met an individual who's a qualified engineer, decided to pursue his interest in farming. And when we met at this entrepreneur event, I found it quite interesting that people can make money out of farming. And so I did my best just to learn about the industry in the time that I had with him. And I remember just going back home and researching a lot about the industry, you know, what type of farmers are out there, what can you farm, and so forth, and how can you make it a sustainable business. And yeah, like any entrepreneur, I took the risk, and 6 years later, I'm still farming.
We're going to get to the funding issue in just a moment, but what makes you get out of bed in the morning? What is it that you love about the land?
That's such an interesting question. It's quite a number of things, quite frankly. First and foremost, it's my employees. I employ about 18 people. And yeah, just to have a team that's quite hands-on and that gets excited about harvesting and so forth. And I think that firstly gets me out of bed. And the fact that I can own my own time. You know, I'm almost 10 years into business right now, and the fact that I can own my own time gets me out of bed. You know, and when I'm having stressful days and I don't feel like working, I've got the opportunity to just sit at home and recoup and, you know, de-stress. So yeah, it's definitely the fact that I can own my own time, that I've got employees that I manage and lead, as well as my clients. I think it's so exciting when they give me feedback about the produce that we've sent. You know, I sell to major retailers and wholesalers across South Africa, and to get clients give me feedback and saying, you know, Mbali, we've got a huge sale or a huge promotion coming up in the weekend. Please, can you supply us more pallets, more tonnage? That gets me excited because I just know that I'm definitely needed and making a contribution in my clients' lives.
I love the fact that you reference the work-life balance, which is really critical these days. Let's talk about funding this, though, right at the very beginning. You mentioned an amount to me. How did you procure that, and what lessons did you learn from that funding experience?
Yeah, so I financed my business myself when I started Green Terrace back in 2016. Like I said, I started with about 50 Rand, and every single sale that I was making within the business, I was reinvesting it back into the business. And that's just how I gradually grew, right? And then in about 2020 or the later part of 2019, I procured a new farm. I bought a piece of land, and that was self-funded as well. I did get a part loan from friends of mine, which I was able to repay within about 12 months. I started a new farm simply because I had a different view and vision of what I wanted to farm and how I wanted to farm, because I'd lost so much money that I invested for my personal finances in the previous farm. So when I bought this brand new farm and invested in it, fortunately enough, one of my retail clients was able to give me about 60% of the funds that I needed to invest in infrastructure primarily on this brand new farm. So I can definitely say I was fortunate to get a client who believed in me, who knew the vision that I was trying to pursue, and would give me 60% of that financing of the farm, and then I financed the rest of the 40%. And so, yeah, it's just been month by month, just growing, making sales. Yes, I was heavily affected by the lockdown because I was building a brand new farm, and in farming you rely on seasons, and if you miss a season, that's another 12-month financial setback. And so from a funding perspective, if a person can just invest in themselves as a start and just show that you've got skin in the game to clients and funders that you're willing to approach just to help you grow your business, I think that's quite key to start off by funding yourself in whatever venture you pursue.
When it comes to funding, how do you manage the balance between acquisition and growth on the one hand, and also the ability to pay off debt?
Wow, that's a difficult one, because growth comes with uncharted territories. And what I mean by that is, as much as we're quite positive and see the positive outlook in the business, especially at growth stage, a lot of challenges can happen that you never preempted. Even though you've planned, you've mitigated certain risks, growth is quite painful. And I'm exactly at that stage where growth, it was painful. Something that was unplanned was COVID for me. Something that was unplanned was the fact that I'll also get delays in materials, which then affected my season, my ability to generate revenue. And so I think how one should plan on growth is obviously having a look at all the things that can go wrong. At the same time, communicating that to your funders or your financiers. So at every stage of the business, whether it's bi-monthly or quarterly, I think it's important to have the conversations with the funders or the investors, but most importantly, make sure that your funders and investors understand your business. Agriculture is not a sector that many people understand or are fully aware of in terms of how it operates and the challenges that farmers face on the ground. So when you get funders and investors, I think it's so important for them to visit the farm, to understand the life cycles of the farm, because in farming you definitely do need patient capital. And that is how investors can walk the journey with you, so that even through the pain points of growth, and when you're unable to pay or repay your loan, they understand and they can see that from an entrepreneur's mindset, you're still committed, you still have skin in the game, and you still want to make it work, and find solutions, more importantly, on the setbacks that you receive.
Bali, you've mentioned twice to me the phrase skin in the game. But at some point, as your business grows, you might very well have to cede a degree of control or even ownership. You might not be there yet, but that's something that faces all entrepreneurs. Are you ready for that?
I think I'm ready for it. I'm open to such discussions, but I think it's still very important for an entrepreneur to regain control of their business at the end of the day. So even if you're speaking to financiers and funders who want a bit of equity in your business, I think it's important to have the buyback clause or the first right to refusal once you've met your own as an entrepreneur's objective, as well as your funders or your finances' objectives. And once you've achieved those milestones, I think that option to regain full control of your business is definitely key. However, there's nothing wrong continuing to build a successful enterprise with partners. So yeah, I think where Green Terrace stands right now, I wouldn't close that door of getting investors at this stage.
As a matter of interest, where did the name Green Terrace come from?
Well, my late husband made it up. I just, when I decided that I want to go into farming, I said, please just come up with a name. But I just want to make sure that the name has the color green in it, or the word green in it, because green is my favorite color. And obviously it's fitting because this is agriculture. It's farming. I'm a crop farmer. So yeah, he just came up with Green Terrace, and the rest is history.
I want to go back to funding now and what funders look for. Now, this might not have applied to your business directly, but you would have an inkling. So are they looking for proprietary technology? Are they looking for potential when it comes to market size? Are they looking for possible equity in the business? Or are they simply looking for that raw passion that patently you had and still have, to your point again, skin in the game?
Well, generically, funders will particularly want to fund an entrepreneur who they can see is definitely committed, right? There's a phrase that that they say is that it's important to back the right jockey. You know, mentally as an entrepreneur, I think that is a huge asset that you need to have, whether business goes is successful or experiences many losses. So I think firstly, funders want to back the right jockey, someone who's committed, someone that is not distracted by too many things or has their hands in many businesses that they can't control at the end of the day. Secondly, when it comes to agriculture, funders definitely want to see security where land is concerned. They definitely want to see the balance sheet, especially in crop farming. It's a cyclical business. Today you have crops, after 3 months you don't have the crops. So they want to see the ability to generate a cash flow, even in various seasons, right? I'm a Johannesburg-based farmer. Roundabout in winter, which is now all the way till August, the business doesn't generate revenue because it's too cold for me to farm. So funders want to see in the downtime months, how is it that you're still able to generate revenue? How would the business still survive? And in the months that you do make sales, can those sales cover the 12 months? So it's definitely a strong balance sheet. Understanding your industry as well. Who are the key role players? You know, who are your markets, most importantly, right? You're farming a crop, you're investing money, but are you able to sell that crop at the end of the day? Are you getting the right price at the end of the day? Have you diversified your markets? You know, it's not very wise to maybe just stick to one segment within the industry. Maybe you're just supplying retailers. What happens when the retailers don't procure from you? Do you have wholesalers? Are you selling to informal markets? So I think funders definitely look for the jockey, look out for the jockey. If they're committed, they look out for the balance sheet, the cash flow. Where agriculture is concerned, it's the land. And how are you able to mitigate the risks should climate change affect your business heavily?
But it is a symbiotic relationship between funder and fundee. So what would you be looking for as the entrepreneur? Would it be their expertise in the business? Is it bringing extra capacity to your business? Are you relying on them for intellectual capital as well as financial capital? What is it?
Personally, I think where Green Terrace is at the moment, I would definitely be looking for an advisory board, you know, people who are more seasoned in the industry or just in business in general, who could help me make certain strategic and executive decisions, you know, because I am the sole owner of my business. So it's nice to kind of have a group of individuals who I could speak to and leverage off over and above the seasoned farmers that I already have at speed dial. So I think for me, what I'll be looking for is people who are experienced in business, more so those that have an interest in the agriculture sector. Like I said before, not a lot of people understand the agriculture sector. Not a lot of people understand that with agriculture, you need patient financing, you know, to see you through off the seasons where you have drought, excessive wind, hail, etc. I definitely think I'd want investors who have a clear mandate within the agriculture sector, who understand the conditions in which a farmer is exposed to at the end of the day, but more so seasoned in business, who can tap into and identify other business opportunities along the agricultural value chain, which I can definitely explore and take advantage of.
Just a final question then. Within your space, within your sector, I'm hoping that we have other agricultural entrepreneurs that have been watching our conversation. Are there funders that you would recommend that potential entrepreneurial farmers work with?
Not specifically, Jeremy. I think besides the typical DTI or IDC, the NEF, National Empowerment Fund, agricultural banks as well, entrepreneurs or agri-entrepreneurs could speak to, but there are smaller niche investors, but that requires a lot of homework and digging around, because it's very easy to get into business with certain organizations or investors, but it's very difficult to have those individuals or the institutions exit out of your business when things go sour. So besides the ones that I've mentioned, I can't think of any specific, but there are private or boutique firms who may say, yes, we've got a mandate to invest in agriculture, what's out there, and we're keen to explore business discussions.
I feel a roasted sweet pepper on my dinner plate tonight. Mbali, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. Take care.
And that was Jeremy Maggs with Mbali Nyoko. Thank you so much for joining us, Mbali. She is such an inspiring woman who's breaking barriers and always keen to help other entrepreneurs within her industry. Are there some key learnings that you took from there? Let us know in the comment section if you are watching via Facebook and YouTube. And if you are watching via our data-free stream or anywhere else, drop us a WhatsApp message on 078-350-0768.
Vandaag we're in Midrand with the owners of Go Gogos, a changeable business that's keeping Gogos on the move with FNB's speedy on-the-spot payment device. Gogos Go!
It's no secret. Before switching to FNB Business, cash payments were slowing us down.
Now, with FNB's speedy payment device, Go Gogos is on the move, now taking card payments on the spot from even more customers.
It's low cost,
contactless,
and it doesn't need to link to another device. Our customers will be able to get their receipts via SMS or email immediately.
Switch to FNB, where one simple change makes a big difference. Go Gogos Go!
Also watching the I'm an Entrepreneur Summit. We're all about finding the right funding for you and your business today. And who better to do that than our partners at FNB? What funding exists and how do you access those opportunities? Up next, we speak to Michelle Garati, who is the Business Development Head in the FNB Structured Financial Solutions team.
So first of all, thanks for the opportunity of being here. Supporting entrepreneurs has always been a big passion of mine through my career. Journey with an entrepreneur is a journey of growth, and businesses and their requirements go through different stages, different growth stages where we can support in different ways. So if we start at the beginning, first of all, we can assist you with opening bank accounts, your registration of your company. Then if we start looking at funding requirements, having a chat to our relationship team and understanding what is the range of funding requirements that we have, but there's also various supports that go behind that. So when you're building and running a business, it's very important that you get the foundations right. And the most important foundation is to separate your personal and business funding so that we can address the appropriate funding requirements for your business. Linked to that, also the value adds that we have. So if you're looking at needing an accounting package, if you're needing salary package to pay wages and salaries, all of those come for free and they are linked to your business account. And then we are better able to look at what your funding requirements are, whether they are short-term and long-term. And it's always our aim to act as a trusted advisor to our clients. So a lot of that comes down to education and sharing knowledge, sharing experience, sharing other growth stories from entrepreneurs that we have met, many entrepreneurs that we have met and learned from in our journey. As I say, we look at supporting entrepreneurs through their growth journey of a business. So again, looking at the very early stages of running a business, let's have a look at it at being a house coming out of the ground. Once you've got your foundation laid and now you are needing to look at building on that foundation. So very early stage purchases that you might get. Let's assume that you won a contract and you are now needing funding for those purchase orders. We have got a strategic partner that we work with that can assist us with purchase order finance. If you've also got your product and service to a point where you've actually delivered and now you're invoicing a debtor as a new client and it's a big debtor, it could be a listed entity or a big mid-corporate business. If we are happy with the various tick boxes that we go through to look at single invoice discounting, we can assist you with that. And then you can start looking at other products that are more flexible, like an overdraft facility, trade finance, moving into debtor finance, moving into asset-based finance if you're looking at buying a particular piece of equipment for your business. And so that journey grows. So the range of funding that we can offer is right from working capital right through to your term debt products. So funding falls into two broad categories. The one would be your working capital, where you're looking flexible finance for a short period of time, and that's normally an overdraft facility or FNB business credit card facilities or trade facilities or data finance. Then if you start looking at buying assets, typically we would use West Bank products. So if you're looking at buying fridges, ovens, delivery vehicles for your business, you would look at asset-based finance, which is repayable over a term. Then we move into term loans, which is our leverage finance, which are business loans repayable over a period. And your longest term debt is your commercial property finance. So you can see we cover the broad spectrum. In addition to that, understanding that banks have got shareholders to answer to, we are also highly legislated as an industry, there are also equity types of funding that are available to entrepreneurs as they grow. So if we need to look at assisting you with selling a portion of your shares to raise capital for a period of growth, we can very easily look at doing that as well. Obviously, it requires a one-on-one discussion. These structures from an equity perspective are very bespoke, so we can't just go out and say, here's your tick box, if you meet all the requirements, we're going to assist you. But certainly we can move from the debt into the equity realm to assist growing businesses. I come back to the analogy of building a home. So the best advice that I can give entrepreneurs is to start with your foundations, make sure you get them right. I know that the common sort of default position is always to start running your business through your personal bank account because you've got it already. Please don't do that. Please approach us, open a business account. You can get 0 accounts with 0 fees. A link to that, all of the value adds that I've already mentioned, instant accounting, instant payroll, instant salaries. So it's very important that you keep your business and your personal banking transactions separate. Why? It starts creating a track record for the business that we can look at using. So the minute you start having trading, funds coming in, funds going out where you are paying suppliers for your business, we can start seeing a track record. What does that mean? We can, based on the behavior on the account, after a 12-month period, start having a look at, based on the activity on the account, what are we happy to lend you? And linked to that, the other very important thing is to make sure that your financial record keeping is up to date and it's credible. So if you're using our instant accounting package solution, we certainly can look at that information. But when your business gets to a size that you're appointing an accountant, an auditor, make sure that you are in your business able to produce monthly management accounts and that your annual audits are kept up to date. Those are the tools of trade that we as financial services and as FNB business work with to be able to support you. You know, often banking can be looked at as a grudge purchase, but we want to partner with you, and we can only do that if we are getting the information that we need to assist you effectively. Funding comes down to many sources, and it takes its shape in many forms. When entrepreneurs are starting a business, generally they have got their own capital. So whether you are buying a piece of equipment to run the bakery or make bricks, then the next sort of position that people go to is they borrow money in their personal capacity, often because they are still working. So it means that they have got an income coming in, which now allows them to be able to repay their debt. And then the next thing is entrepreneurs typically will go to family and friends to look at investing in their business, so they can really get that foundation of the business out of the ground. Again, if you are approaching any of those parties, they need information. So What is your business plan? What are you going to be selling? What service are you going to be providing? What differentiates you from other competitors in the market? You need to document that in a business plan so that you know where you're going. And when you approach parties for funding, you can confidently talk through what it is that you are planning to put in place. Entrepreneurs often neglect that. So the analogy again that I often use is to say, you can't just be the good baker who's now going to think they can run the bakery. There's a new set of skills that you need to look at growing. And all of us know that growth takes some pain. So be prepared for that. Support yourself with people around you that have run businesses before. Networking is fundamentally important. Our male counterparts often do that in the pub, on the golf course. What we've done in F&B business is we have developed a women in business strategy. And interestingly enough, one of the biggest requests that come out of that network is please help create platforms where women can network. So if you chat to your relationship manager, they can put you in touch with a women in business network. If you've got a female shareholder in your business, or if you are a woman on your own running a business, that networking is, you cannot actually put a price tag on how invaluable that networking and partnership is with other businesses. Then constantly do research on your business. Find out what your competitors are doing. Use the internet to best advantage. Go out and do some mystery shopping for yourself to see what your competitors are doing, because knowledge is power. And that's one of the other things. Don't think that you're going to go out there and say, hi, I'm Michelle, I've arrived, and people are going to look at buying from you just because you make that statement. People are looking for value. They're looking for something that differentiates. They're looking for something that adds financial value in their life, that makes life more convenient. I mean, we know in the last 2 years the difficulties that we have all faced as humans trying to run the gauntlet with this COVID pandemic. So you need to make sure that you're adding value to people's lives through your business. Keep renewing yourself, keep reinventing the business, make sure that you're constantly adding value, and that requires research to do that.
Up next, one of our favorite features where we take it to the streets. We plug various entrepreneurs from all over the country who are doing amazing work, and who knows, they might get a sale or two. This is Word of Mouth, where we put our people on.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Masufo Munchu. I'm the MD of MSG IT Solutions. We are a 100% women, youth-owned company. We are based in the Free State. We are an accredited service provider in the ICT industry. We envision a country with digitally equipped citizens. We also operate in telecommunication industry to ensure that most citizens are connected and can participate in digital economy, which offer massive opportunities.
My name is Masuho Munchu, and I am an entrepreneur.
Hi, my name is Tato Mabonela, founder and director of Goklili Pty. My business trades in the agro-processing industry, and we are based in Mabopane, north of Pretoria, in the Tshwane South TVET College, Odi campus. What we do is we make natural peanut butter, and we also do roasted, salted peanut snacks and mix them with raisins. Goklili peanut butter comes in a range of flavors. That is peanut butter with cinnamon, peanut butter with raw honey, and just the natural plain peanut butter. What makes us great is that Goklili peanut butter is free from preservatives, no sugar, no salt, no emulsifier, and no added oil. My biggest lesson as an entrepreneur is to always look for opportunities, to be patient, and never stop learning. I am Tato Mavonela, and I am an entrepreneur.
Hi, I'm Masrati Mutlong, and I'm the founder of Moja Prepaid. We sell uncapped fiber in the township. What makes us the best is that we are one of the ISPs that's actually based in the township. We take the best of mobile data and the best of fiber data and put it together. So people can do pay-as-you-go for uncapped data. They can sign up for daily packages, for weekend packages, for weekly packages, and for month-long packages. It really just depends on what their needs are. But at the end of the day, we're really trying to offer data for all at an affordable price. What I've learned as an entrepreneur is that every day comes with new challenges and new experiences. You never really have it all figured out, and that's part of the excitement of it. Life doesn't go the way that you have planned, and it's just about being agile. I am Maestrati Mutlong, and I'm an entrepreneur.
Shout out to our IAAE entrepreneurs doing absolutely incredible work. Now, your business could be featured in our very next episode. All you need to do is drop us a mail, info@imanentrepreneur.co.za, and you could be the very next word of mouth to put your business on. Now, we're almost at the end of our summit, but we're not going to go without some inspiration that's coming up with Pearls of the Hustle and Bakona. Stay tuned.
We're in Brown with Bossman, who'd like to share how one simple change made a big difference in his business.
10 Mallet got 2021. Same hairstyle for the past 20 years. Chief, time to be a changer. I opened a business call account that's free and it's linked to my main business account.
Business call what?
A business call account separate from my main account that allows my business to start saving and earn interest from as little as 1 minute.
Like me, I use mine to manage my business cash flow properly by transferring money between accounts for free using the FNB app.
Be changeable.
Save and manage your cash flow with FNB's business call account. Switch to FNB, where one simple change makes a big difference.
Seeing my product in the shop, it makes me want to do more. I went into the veggie department. There was an old lady pushing a trolley, and she went there. She took the packet of green beans. She looked at it. She says, "No, I want 1532. Where is 1532 here? Because I bought it last time. It was so nice." And I was just close to her, and she didn't know that it was my green beans. Then I was so excited about it. She left the other one and go. Really, this is a true story. I've seen it with my real eye. Before I had my own farm, I was a foreman around Hazelview. While I was working at the fresh produce there, we had a shortage of spinach. I took that advantage and went home and started planting out of a backyard. I've started to supply my previous employee. A lot of hard work, yes. I've managed to save some money while I was working there because the money for the spinach that I was selling while I was there, all that money to come and buy a farm. Shoprite into Shile Kudu or Keveliona on board because like a supply kanako and each year stock saga akakam council. Over the last 10 years, I've supplied Freshmark with over 1 million packets of green beans. We pack only the nice green beans. So all those broken one and the skew one, we give it to the orphanage. They say that the hands that gives is the one that receives a lot of blessing.
Welcome back. You are watching I'm an Entrepreneur Summit. Up next, lots of inspiration, learning, and tons of growth. And where else to get that but in great books? Banele Riwo takes us through some very good reads.
My name is Banele Reo, and I'm the author of Noma Yini, The Mentality You Need Before You Start Any Business. I'm also the founder of We Are Coming for Everything. And also, I run a production company or a content production company. The books that have crafted my entrepreneurial journey are, the first one is Finish What You Start by Peter Hollins. And the second one is 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. And the third one is my very own Noma Yini, The Mentality You Need Before You Start Any Business. Finish What You Start by Peter Hollins. What I've learned from the book was, well, as the title says, we need to learn how to finish what we start. If you look at what's happening right now in the country or globally, we have a lot of access to information. And with that access to information, we get inspired all the time. With that inspiration, we then tend to be inspired to start businesses or start projects. But after maybe like third week, we drop those businesses or those projects, and we don't quite understand why we drop those projects. So in the book, Peter Hollins explains to us that what tends to happen is that you start the project or business having been inspired, wherever that inspiration comes from. But as you go along and do the actual work that is required in that project, you tend to lose inspiration, because inspiration is not the driver of projects and businesses. Motivation is not the driver of that too. So he then takes you on a journey of how to finish that. The major takeout in the book is that you need to start small projects, finish those small projects, and then you will build up what he calls a follow-up muscle. And it's something that I've personally done, because when I started with gym, I could not follow up. But when I learned how to actually finish just my reps, or finish, if I want to run 10 kilometers and finish that, or run a kilometer, but then I learned how to finish what I start. So when you take that and you actually incorporate it into your life, you tend to learn how to finish whatever it is that you start. Book 2 is Peter Thiel's 0 to 1. The main idea of the book is driving the idea that we need to be building companies that no one is building. If you look at what is happening currently all around the country and globally, you find that we are, yes, again, starting companies, but we are starting companies which are already existing. He goes on to say that the next Mark Zuckerberg will not build a Facebook. The next Jeff Bezos will not create Amazon. Now, the reason why the book is called 0 to 1 is driving the idea that the next successful businesses will not be businesses that are already operating, which means that we as entrepreneurs, we need to build companies that move from 0 to 1, and in the business space, that means 10x. So if you're going to compete with Facebook, you can't build Facebook. You need to build something else that's 10 times better than Facebook. To put it in a relevant context with South Africa is that if you're going to start the next Batu or the next Drip, you won't tell the story of starting a shoe company from the township and making it a shoe for the people. That story has already been taken, so you need to come up with something else. Another example would be a sneaker cleaning company. The next person to build a company like Walk Fresh Sneaker Cleaning will not compete with Walk Fresh by cleaning sneakers. They have to bring some other service to compete, or even take over the market from Walk Fresh. My third book is Nomayini, The Mentality You Need Before You Start Any Business. It's a book written by myself. The reason why I recommend this book is because, again, we have graduates in the country and they are looking for jobs. And if you are looking for a job and you are a graduate, you sort of have an entitlement mentality where you say, well, I'm qualified, so this is the time for me to get a job. While the reality is there are very few jobs that are available, so we need to adopt a different kind of mindset. Now, that mindset that we need to adopt is one that is used in the townships where they say anything, which is Nomayini, which is where the title comes from. When you adopt a Nomayini mentality, you become the kind of person who's open to starting any business or building any business or starting anything. And you understand that where you are right now is only where you are right now, not your final destination. And when you adopt that kind of mentality, you are able to do just about any job. If you can do just about any job, you tend to then open yourself up to the career that you want, or maybe even access that career. Starting a business is tough in South Africa right now, and I recommend that you get my book, Noma Yini, The Mentality You Need Before You Start Any Business, and you'll get to understand a few challenges that are unique to the country, and then the book is going to guide you through them. My name is Banele Reo, and you can find me on social media networks, Banele Reo, and that's it. Thank you very much.
I still maintain that the greatest thing any book lover can do, and somebody who's read many, many books, is eventually take all that knowledge that they've gathered from all the books that they've read and write their very own. Thank you very much for that, Banele. Those are some great reads. And of course, we've definitely added yours to our reading list. That was the Book Corner. Coming up next, we're about to say goodbye, but we'll never leave without, of course, sharing some gems with you. Here is Pearls of the Hustle.
So many of us typically start our businesses as one-man or one-woman shows. And that's okay. And then maybe we're also running away from a lot of things that come with starting, with big teams. But let's flip the script a little bit. Do you realize that most people who invest in entrepreneurs like investing in a team of complementary skills, as opposed to this one-man Superman who supposedly has all of the skills to make sure this business runs, and he can do it all by himself, one man? Romeo Khumalo explains why is it that investors are looking for those teams that have got complementary skills, teams that work better together, they've got energy, they've got longevity together, and they synchronize better towards the common goal. Have a listen.
There's capital funding, there's social capital, but more importantly, what I look for is the human capital and the complementary skills in the team. We see people coming to see us on their businesses, and the first thing that we talk about when they leave the room is, wow, was it a great team or what? We can fix them. We can help them. We can fix their business. We can fix them. But we want them. We want to work with them because they're a great team. There's financial skills, there's technical skills, there's passion in marketing and distribution. They gel, they know each other for long, they've got skin in the game. These guys, there's a diversity of skills and ideas. They'll take each other on. That's what we look for. Before we even start talking about the idea they've just presented, the first thing we discuss when people leave the room is the team. And so it's so important to get the team right, to get the complementary skills right, and make sure that it's not all yes men around you, all yes women around you, and that you've got the right team around you.
What a journey about thoughtful, insightful information about finding the right funding for you and your business. We hope that you are well equipped with all the info that you need to make the right decision about how you will grow your business, about affordability, and everything that you need to know about funding, which is not always readily available. Spread the knowledge, because you know what? Sharing is caring. We absolutely love hearing from you and value your feedback, so do engage with us. You know how it goes. If you are watching via Facebook or YouTube, then drop us a message in the comment section, engage with us there. And if you are watching via our data-free stream, then you can send us a WhatsApp message on 078-350-0768. We're also on Facebook. Do like our page, just search for I Am an Entrepreneur. On the Twitter streets and on Instagram, we are at IAAESA, and the hashtag is IAAE Summit. A very big thank you to our sponsor FNB and our partners Renault and ShopRite. Until the very next I Am an Entrepreneur Summit, we'll see you again. Keep building and growing your business. My name is Kanabo. Thank you for watching.
The I Am an Entrepreneur Summit is sponsored by FNB in association with our partners.